Pricing embroidery jobs can often be a challenging aspect for new and even experienced embroiderers. In this video, I'll break down two methods of pricing embroidery jobs from the per stitch method and the hourly rate method. And you can decide which one works best for you. Hang out until the end of this video to find out how you can get my free embroidery pricing calculator. There is a common rule when it comes to pricing embroidery: $1 per 1,000 stitches. Like with many things, taking into account the time it takes to embroider something is how you should price your embroidery. While each person's business situation will be different, figuring out your overhead and other related costs should be taken into account when you're pricing your embroidery jobs, and it doesn't have to be complicated. All you need to do is figure out what your machines need to make per hour to ensure you're charging the correct amount when it comes to pricing embroidery jobs. Let's jump into the computer so I can show you my embroidery calculator I created to help figure out embroidery costs using the hourly method. There's several things that you should consider when trying to figure out your hourly rate, such as your overhead, your rent, utilities, if you have any employees, insurance, machine cost, machine maintenance, and your embroidery supplies. Alright, so here's my embroidery pricing calculator that I created to help with the hourly rate method. For this example, we're just going to use $60 an hour as our hourly rate that we need to run our machine. Let's use a sample design of 10,000 stitches for this example, and let's say 5 trims. Now every trim does take time if your machine's stopping and switching colors, so I estimate those at roughly 250 stitches for every trim based on the design that you have. You can choose to charge more for hooping a garment more than one times if it's multiple locations, or if you have to add foam for a 3D puff design on a hat, for example. So our total stitches and trims calculated equals 11,250 for this example. Your machine stitch speed varies on how fast you run your machine. So if you run your machine faster or slower, you would just enter that here. I'm going to go ahead and enter 850 stitches per minute for this example. So as you can see, on average, it's going to take 13 minutes and 24 seconds of stitch time. So that doesn't mean hooping time and all of that, so you would have to take that into consideration. So here you're going to enter how many number of heads that you're going to be using for this job. You may have 1, you may have 30. It's going to vary based on how many machine heads you have. So for this example, let's just stay with 1. So you're going to average 4.5 pieces per hour. So that calculated should give you embroidery only pricing of $13.24. Now down here, you can actually use your embroidery price and calculate how much you should charge for a certain article that you're embroidering. So let's use a hat for this example that may cost you, let's say, $5. So it's going to calculate the blank cost, and these are markups based on 1.5x to 3x with the price of embroidery included. So you can choose one of these prices here for a rate for your customer. Now as you can see, if you come back up here and change this to, let's say you have 2 heads of embroidery, your embroidery only cost goes down significantly, as does the pricing with the garment. Now if you wanted to use the dollar per 1,000 stitch method, this design would be a cost of $10 for embroidery versus the $13.24 for the hourly method. That comes out to a difference of $14.67 per hour when you run this design. As you can see, the pricing can vary quite a bit with the dollar and hourly pricing methods. While everyone's situation is different, ensuring your pricing can make you money and still be competitive is key to running a successful embroidery business. Post in the comments any questions or tips you use to figure out pricing for your embroidery jobs, and be sure to subscribe for more content like this. Check out a link for my embroidery calculator in the description below.